Hi everyone, I'm James, and in today's video on my Spitfire restoration I'm going to be looking at the heater plumbing. So this video has two reasons for being. One, the current plumbing for the heater is all wrong and the heater is always on, which is kind of annoying in summer. And the second is I had a bit of a blowout in the last weekend, so we're going to have a look at that, and that'll need to be fixed as well. So what was going to be a little simple video might be a little more complicated and will probably stretch over two while I wait for some parts. So if you want to see that next part as well, hit that subscribe button and hit the like button if you enjoy the video. Right, let's have a look at what's going on. So here we have the new parts I want to fit. Well, the new parts to do the job anyway. We have the main part, which is the return pipe. This is actually the Swedish version, which is slightly different to the normal one. I only got that because it was the only one in stock at the time in stainless steel. And then we have the nuts and olive that mount that, that connect that to the engine. We have a new flange and parts to connect the valve for the heater system to the heater core, and a bunch of hose clamps and a selection of 1/2-inch heater hose. So three of these are actually made for the Spitfire, and then I just got this one from the local auto parts store as a nice random bent hose for any of the odd things that I need a random piece of hose for. So the other part of the job is fixing that rather horrid looking core plug. So that's the culprit that blew out while I was doing 100 kilometers an hour down the motorway last weekend, and subsequently all the water in the engine and the radiator ended up on the motorway, and I ended up driving a rather hot engine another few hundred meters up the road to the service station, where I was able to figure out what had happened. And by some miracle the core plug was actually sitting on the chassis rail, so I put that back in, refilled the car with water, and me and my friend Duncan were back off gingerly driving home, and luckily the car made it with no issues. So now I just need to clean that up and sort out a new seal, which I've got a new set of core plugs on order. So once they come in I'll be able to finish this whole job and refill it all with nice new coolant. Okay, so if we have a look at the whole system, we can see here that the carburetor cooling pipe has been bypassed. Like with a lot of these, the steel pipe that runs through has rusted out, so someone's put in a direct pipe. Now that's going straight into the heater core, and on the other side the heater cores just run direct into the engine block. So the valve I've sat there for now. I went to fit this some time back and realized I didn't have the correct plumbing in terms of return paths and things, so I've just tied that in there so that it is all connected, ready to go, with the control cable not floating around the engine. So the big missing part is that return pipe, which goes down under the exhaust manifold and goes to a inlet onto the water pump just down there, and that's just sealed off with a bung at the moment. So my plan is to actually start draining the system via that bung, so I can clear out any gunk that's sitting in there and make sure that water is free to flow out of that, and then I'll start putting everything together. Right, so I've got a tray underneath everything. Hopefully it'll catch most of the water, and I've also covered over the dipstick in the hole so we don't get any water going down into the oil pan. There we go. That's good, that's all relatively free of gunk. Should be able to fit the new fitting without too much trouble, he said optimistically. And I'll also open up the tap at the other end of the engine block. And now just the lower radiator hose. Now, before I fit all the pipe work, better get in and clean up where this core plug came out. That's cleaned up all around the core plug. Now I'm going to see if I can get it out. See if I can pop out one side by hitting in the other. I do know there's a lip in behind it. It does look like someone's had a go at this before from the edge. See if I can just get a pick in there. There we go. So, here we have one core plug, shiny on the outside, grotty on the inside. So I'm going to clean this up and see how badly gone it is. Give me an indication of whether the others need doing too. So scrubbing it off, there is still quite a bit of meat to it. Yes, it's pitted, but I don't think, other than it popping loose, because I think it's been attacked in the past, that it's going to be a sign that I need to do the whole engine. Not right now anyway. So I'm going to clean that up and wait for a new part. There's a fair amount of gunk in the hole, but 55-year-old engine is going to accumulate a little bit of rust and shit in places like this. Get the goopy stuff out, and then I'll get the wire brush again. I think it's definitely going to need a good lot of sealant to make sure the plug stays in place given the condition that I'm looking at here. That's about as clean as I think I'm going to get it for now. I shall now move on with the rest of the heating system job. Okay, so I think the next job I'm going to do is fit the valve side of the plumbing. Got a couple of tight squeezes to get to the pipes and around the electrical system, so I'm going to disconnect the battery. So if we have a look in here, you can see that the old pipework connecting to the heater core on this side is in a very sorry state. So the first job is to remove all of that and start fitting new pipes and the new flange that goes on the back of this plate here. So it's all nice and shiny and new, and I of course have a hose to replace this one with the right bends in it to go from the valve over to that point in the engine there. So I'll start pulling that to bits, clean things up, and hopefully be easy enough to fit the new pipes. but we'll see. Okay, it's amazing that hadn't just gone everywhere. It didn't even need undoing. Dear dear. So while that soaks in, I'll remove this and give it a clean. There we go. Oh. It's not terrible, just needs a clean up on top. Okay, let's see if we can get this hose clamp undone now. That's an utter pain in the ass. Oh, there we go. Oh boy, this is one rock solid old pipe. On a brighter note, the heater core pipes look in relatively good condition. So the next piece I'm going to do, since I had to take it off anyway to get to that annoying short pipe, we now have the bracket for this new flange off the car and for the heater valve. So that mates to that, and it all goes in here. So let's assemble this on the bench and make life a little easier. So if we zoom in, you can see how it all goes together there. So interestingly, the flange holes are actually threaded. So first up you'll end up bolting the flange to the valve, and then use the provided nuts and screws. You see it looking for the last nut, which is to attach it to the bracket. You can see these two mating surfaces both have V-grooves in them to seat the nice little O-ring. This particular kit came from Moss Europe. It's going to be quite tight in there, that's good. Right, it is threading. Just did not want to start. Yeah. This goes in here like so. Kit comes with a couple of spring washers, a couple of nuts. Like that. I'll want much of that. We want one of these. one up. Okay, that's not going anywhere. Our pipe for the engine block has seen much better days, but it'll do for now because I don't have another one. Right, let's go back to the car. Put this back in. Okay, first things first, put that back pipe over the heater core. It is a bit long. Take 10mm off that. Okay, let's try that again. Look better. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, that back on. Probably should have put the control cable on first. Oh well, I'll just make life hard. There we go. Now, you know what? Sometimes it's worth a little effort to make your life easier. Tighten the cable clamp. Then we'll do up the control wire onto the valve control. Before I bolt it all down this time, it is working. Don't think it's going quite far enough though. Not quite so happy with where it's sitting, so I'm actually going to put a washer in there. Wire can sit on that so that the doofer doesn't go any further. Doesn't allow the doofer to fall out of the hole on the other side. That's better. Now then, let's try this again. That's much better. That's fully hitting the close mark. that's one side of the system done. Let's just check the function of our valve. Very good. It's fully closing. I think that's about enough for today. Time to tidy up. We'll do the other side when I have the core plug to put in the engine block.